Welcome into this week's edition of the Co-Lin Coaches Show. We're all about our spring sports, and we're wrapping up the seasons rapidly, but postseason play is still upon us. And joining me first is our head softball coach, Meleah Howard. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Excited to be here.
And Coach, obviously, a weekend where your team, they didn't just win, it was an absolute show of dominant force all weekend. You look at it, you go undefeated in the Region 23 softball semifinal. You only gave up one run in, I believe, 17 innings of play this weekend, gave up 9 hits, and you outscored opponents 30-1. So anytime you do something like that at this level, I think it sends a message. But overall, your thoughts on the whole weekend?
Well, we accomplished our first goal. We got our trophy here for everybody to see. So we won conference, and we wanted to host the regional, and we talked about that last week. This year was a little bit different with the setup with the 4 teams versus last year we had 10 teams. We were excited about our pod and hosting, and we felt like we had a good matchup with the teams that were in our pod. Didn't really know a whole lot about Eunice going in, but, we were able to watch them, and we were making the bracket and the schedule for this tournament. Originally you think, oh, we're the host team. We want to play the late game on Friday on day 1. But after thinking about it all, we were like, you know what? It's actually an advantage to us to play the first game. We play the first game, win or lose. We can watch the second game knowing, hey, this is who we're going to play. It also gave our girls more time to rest, go get food, kind of relax. And not to mention we had some fun weather going on, a lot of tarp duties and a lot of buckets of water being dumped off the field to keep it ready. But our girls worked hard and they wanted to play, and we did that.
Right. I think if we tell everybody back home, we were supposed to start at 3. We didn't start till 4:30. At about 12:30, if you'd have told me we were going to start at 4:30, I don't know that you'd have believed it. I jokingly said we had Lake Capaya out there on the field on the tarp. I think the girls moved about 100 gallons of water in those buckets and those kind of things. But fortunately, able to get it in. You get to play that first game. Got a little chippy at times between us and Northeast, but overall, your thoughts on that when you came out, you really made a statement. You got that 6-0 shutout in that first game.
Well, we've played Northeast already twice. We did have to play them at their place. We knew they were going to be tough. Anybody in our conference is, especially if they make postseason. And Northeast was. They were tough. They battled. They had some good at-bats. They put pressure on us a little bit defensively. Their pitcher did a pretty good job. But our girls were not scared. They were not worried, and they did what we always do when we played Co-Lin softball.
And you look at this one, there was no score after the first inning. We scored 4 in the second, took a 4-0 lead, and it really, with the way that Kara was pitching, it felt like 4 might be enough. Fortunately, you got a couple more off of a bat that we haven't seen this out of all year. Olivia Baines comes up and crushes a 2-run home run, her first one of the year. More exciting at-bats for her coming and for plenty of the members of the Lady Wolves. And I think Kara, if I'm not mistaken, carried either a no-hitter or a perfect game through about the 5th inning. She didn't give up a hit till really late. So just, again, like we said, a dominating performance. And we only had 3 hits, Madison, Moak, AG, and Baines with those 3 hits, but 3 hits was enough. Of course, we said we only gave up 3, but they hit 3 hits and didn't score any runs.
Well, the biggest difference between the 3 hits of ours versus the 3 hits of theirs were ours were timely. Mm-hmm. Ours came when we needed them. Moak hit a double with bases loaded, clear the bases. Mm-hmm. O comes up with a 2-run bomb. Moak gets on, AG gets the RBI to get her in. So those 3 hits were clutch, but even outside of our 3 hits, the at-bats that we had, we always talk about having competitive at-bats and going to the plate and just competing in the box, and our girls did that. So
you also, we mentioned it, you look at Kara's line, complete game shutout, just 3 hits, only 1 walk. It was the only walk she gave up on the weekend, and then the 6 strikeouts. So just a really dominating performance in Kara in the circles. And that's something you like to see, especially late here in the postseason.
Well, we've talked about it. When Kara's on that mound, she's business. And, she was in the spot as a freshman last year, so she knows what it takes. And she took care of business.
So then you fast forward to the next day, you go in the winner's bracket. We have to wait a little bit late to find out who you're playing. It ends up being the Lady Bengals of LSU Eunice. They hit that 2-run walk-off home run in the bottom of the 7th against Hines the night before. And this one, if 6-0 is dominant, 15-0 is a show of force, I would think. But your thoughts overall on this one?
So going into the LSUE game, we were able to watch them Friday night to learn a little bit more about them. So we did a little scouting report, and we were pretty spot on with our scouting report. They were a good team. They were scrappy, but we had a plan, and the girls executed against LSUE. You can't ask for a better offensive performance in a regional.
Right. You look at this one, and a little bit of a unique thing here. By coin flip, we were the visiting team, not something the girls are used to, but it didn't seem to affect them at all. You scored one run in the first, really kind of jumped on them. It was 1-0 after the first, 1-0 after the second, and then the third, fourth, and fifth innings happened. You scored 4 in the third, highlighted by Olivia Baines' first 3-run home run. Hit hard, hit high, 3-run home run, Olivia Baines! 2 home runs in 2 days. Her first 2 of the whole year have come in the Region 23 tournament. In the fourth inning, you scored 6, highlighted by Laney Waguespack hitting a pinch hit grand slam, her first career home run. Count. Laney Waguespack puts a charge into this one. It is a grand slam! Laney Waguespack, her first career home run in a Lady Wolves uniform, and it puts 4 on the board. And then in the fifth, another 3-run home run from Olivia Baines highlights a 4-run fifth, and that's how you get to 15-0. And again, just pure domination, as you mentioned. You look at the hitting lines. Olivia Baines was 3 for 3. She reached base in all 4 at bats. We talked about it yesterday. She reached base in 8 straight at bats to start this regional. Didn't get out till her first at bat of Sunday. Kinley Ainsworth was 3 for 4. Madison, Moak, AG, Taylor Everson all had a hit. Laney Waguespack with the pinch hit grand slam. That's where you get 10 hits from. And again, we've talked about it a lot. Anytime up and down this lineup, when you're getting a lot of those hits, you feel good.
That's right. Well, our girls have bought in. They know I've got to have a good at bat. It's not about me. It's about my teammates and how can I help my team be better. And, Laney's pinch hit was huge. With 2 3-run bombs was huge. That just kind of exploded the offense.
So I think someone else, one of the other SIDs from the schools looked at me. He said, y'all just have an embarrassment of riches on the offensive side of the ball, don't you? I said, well, it's a perfect time. What are the perfect time for someone to hit their first career home run than in the region tournament? And we had it not happen once but twice in back-to-back days. And then, of course, as we mentioned, Olivia getting 3 in the weekend. You look at the pitching lines. Kara comes out, 4 innings, 3 hits, only 1 strikeout. I thought LSU did a good job of putting the ball in play. Didn't get a lot of hits. Again, Kara comes out and just gives up 3 hits again. Emily Richard comes in, 1 inning, retires all 3 that she faces. So another dominating performance in the circle as well, too.
Yeah, Kara didn't have as many strikeouts, but in this game, especially after her pitching the night before, our plan was to attack the zone and, spin the ball. Don't worry about speed. Don't worry about, everybody looks at stat lines and thinks strikeouts, define a great pitcher, but honestly, soft contact and getting outs, that's what makes a great pitcher to me because, and Kara did her job. Defense had her back all weekend because, there were times where we made some really good plays defensively to keep LSUE from getting anything started. So, and Kara knows that. She pitches with the mindset that defense has her back and defense plays with she's gonna get us out.
Right. And then you go into Sunday, you advance in the winners bracket, you go in and you've got winner's advantage. You know that a team has to do something that nobody has done all year, and that's beat you twice on your own field and really beat you on your own field, period. And Sunday happens, it's 9-1. Your thoughts on this one as well, too? Knowing winning this one, it gets you in the Region 23 championship, but not only that, it punches your return ticket back to Spartanburg, and that's where the Lady Wolves are going to be in a couple of weeks.
Well, before this game, again, we had to flip. So I was really excited that we were the home team for this game because, it's very awkward to be the visiting team and the higher seed and the host team on your field. So getting to be the home team made me feel a lot better going into this game. And, I didn't want our girls to have the mindset, we beat this team 15-0 yesterday. This is going to be easy because it's not. You never know from one day to the next how you're going to do. But, Eunice comes out and they answered first in this game. And it was like, okay, this is going to be a different ball game. But, our girls just said, hey, that's the only one they're getting right there. And, again, just a really good offensive day, good defensive day. Again, Kara does what she does and gets out there and handles business.
Right. I told you after the game, I said that I jokingly said something about we're going to be fine in this one. Moak's going to come up there, get us a leadoff home run to start our offense, and everything's going to be okay. And lo and behold, that's actually what happened. You mentioned it. Eunice scores that first run. They get a leadoff double, sack bunt, and then an RBI ground out, and it's 1-0. And you're thinking, okay, 1-0. They've scored one. No, it really doesn't feel like it's that big of a deal. It is the first run you've given up in the whole tournament. But then, again, Moak comes up there, needs about 3 pitches, leadoff solo home run. We're tied just like that. And I told you could kind of see on the Eunice side, they were like, oh, man, that's not good. I think they were thinking maybe if we can hold a lead, maybe they'll feel a little bit down. And then you score another one. AG gets on. Kinley scores her with an RBI. So it's 2-1 after the first inning. It's 2-1 after the second. And then it's 3-1 after the third. You get an RBI off the bat of Emeri Warren, I believe, at that point, who had a great game in this one. And then you scored 3 in the fourth and 3 in the fifth, and including a walk-off 2 RBI single by Emeri Warren. And, it's just, I think it was a little bit of a special moment for a freshman to be able to get that walk-off hit, and that's the hit that really punched your ticket. That was a special moment.
That sealed the deal, Before Emery's at bat, I went up to her and I said, hey, you see Taylor at second? I said, if you get her in, we're walking this thing off and we're going back to Spartanburg. She said, yes, ma'am. And Emeri is another one. She's business when it's on that field. She's focused and she's swinging it really well right now, and that's what we need. I told them early in the year, we had girls that were, hot and cold, and I said, hey, it's okay. I said, because when May gets here, when postseason gets here, I need all of y'all to get hot. Mm-hmm. And that's we're almost there. We're almost there.
So you look at the hitting lines in this one. Emeri was your leading hitter. She was 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Moak and AG both get a couple of hits. The only time all tournament that they have a multi-hit game. AG actually started the 4th inning. We didn't mention it. First pitch, we come back from a break in the broadcast. First pitch is out of the yard, off a light pole.
It was quick.
It got out of there in a hurry. So quick, I was afraid replay wasn't going to see it. You can barely see it on the replay, get off the light pole. So that really kind of is, that kind of felt like that was the moment. We knew even if we don't score another run, 4-1 is enough, especially with the way that Kara was pitching. But Kinley Ainsworth also had a pair of hits. Taylor Efferson, Olivia Baines, Carson Huey, Bailey Goodson, all with a hit as well. So you look at Olivia Baines. This is a player who, we've talked about her. She's struggled at times, been in and out of the lineup, but this weekend she saved her best. She was 5 of 7, had 9 RBIs, drew 2 walks. Mentioned it a second, reached base safely in her first 8 at bats. It was good enough that. We haven't been able to say this yet, but she is going to be the co-player of the week for the MACCC. Kara Biswell is the pitcher of the week for the MACCC. Her line, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 strikeout. So in 9 innings of work, she only struck out 2 against LSU. Eunice gave up 6 hits and only 1 run, but that's fantastic against a team of the caliber that Eunice is.
Yeah, and, they had seen her the day before, so, you expect, that's why going into this game, I knew we were going to have to score again because we're throwing the same pitcher again. And, even though Kara is amazing at what she does, it's still, they're going to start picking up on your pitching. And we mixed it up a little bit. And they found a few hits that were just found a hole. But, again, offensively and defensively, we were able to hold it down. And I do want to give Kinley Ainsworth a little shout out because she caught every single game this weekend. A lot of times the pitchers get the praise and the catchers don't. But Kinley Ainsworth, I'm really proud of her because I know she's tired and she's beat up and she's caught almost every inning all season long. But she's done a phenomenal job, and I'm really proud of her.
Yeah. To put it in perspective, folks, 218 total chances. Kinley has 1 error. She has 208 putouts and 9 assists. That's impressive.
Very.
No matter what level you're at. Just to have 1 error and 218 chances. But we look forward to this weekend. We know we've got one more game here in Weston. One more game one last time at Lady Wolves Field here this season, and it's going to be against a familiar opponent, an opponent that I think we've come to maybe have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with, and the Bobcats of Jones. They're going to come over here. It's a winner-take-all for the Region 23 championship. Both teams are going to Spartanburg, back right in the same spots they were in last year. But what are your thoughts going into this one against a team that, you went over there and swept them at their place, so they're going to come over here and have revenge on their minds?
Oh, for sure. And, this year's setup, we already talked about it, it's a little bit different. Normally, you have, a winner and somebody who works their way through the loser's bracket and they have to be beat twice. But as a conference and as a region, we decided that this game, it determines the region champion, but you don't want to continue to beat on each other because you're going to possibly see each other again in the national tournament. So it will be a one game at 3 o'clock on Saturday. When we went to Jones, it was a knockdown drag out. Like, it was back and forth offensively and pitching and defense and base running. I mean, it come down to, who made the right hits and who made errors or who made the right plays. I have a feeling it's going to come down to that again. Who's going to play the best ball? Who's going to play the cleanest? Who's going to pitch it the best? Who's going to hit it the best? So, I don't know. It's gonna be fun.
So lots of great things happening for the Lady Wolves as they have all season. Again, they go 3-0 in the Region 23 softball semifinal and will host Jones this upcoming Saturday at 3 p.m. for the Region 23 championship. What better way to end it at home than at home with the two top teams in this region. We're looking forward to having you there. If you can't make it, we'll have it on stream for you as well, too. I'll be on the call for you. I'm Kevin Kyzar, Sports Information Coordinator. Stick with us through the break. Head coach Adam Chamblee of the Wolves baseball team is going to join us. We'll find out how they did in their postseason appearance and then what's coming forward for them after this. Welcome back in. Thanks for sticking with us through the break. And as promised, joining me now is head baseball coach Adam Chamblee. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
And Coach, obviously the weekend didn't go the way that you wanted it to. Unfortunately, you dropped 2 in a row to Meridian. That eliminated you. But your thoughts overall on the weekend and, what it means for the Wolves going forward, making their first postseason trip since 2021.
Yeah, like you said, obviously the weekend did not go the way that we planned. But man, it was an awesome effort by our guys all year long just to get there and finish where we finished. Not that it was something that we didn't feel like we could do. We definitely felt like if we put our best foot forward and we had the ability and all of that to do it. But yeah, just an awesome year, winning 27 games. I think you said that was the most since 2008. So just a really, really good year for us, even though we did come up a little short. But I think our guys, they hung in there and they played hard all year long and just ran into a tough team.
So you look at game one and it's 11-1. That box score I don't think is indicative of how good of a start your guys got off to. You actually scored the first run of the game in game one and all that, and you're looking at 1-0. And then, like I told you, like we've talked several times, you blink and it's 6-1 all of a sudden. They scored 2 in the second, 3 in the third, and 6 in the fourth, and that's all of their runs. But your thoughts overall on game one, a tough game there, in that one ending early because of the run rule and all that stuff, but your thoughts overall on it?
I thought they played well, and we did not play real well. I mean, we did some things that you would say if those things happen, then you don't quite deserve to win the game, which, like you mentioned, I was extremely pleased with how we jumped out. In the first inning, we score first, and it looks like we're super aggressive, in the first inning and ready to roll, and then they just bounce back right there, and but they swung the bats really well all weekend. Anybody can see that. But, making a couple mistakes, walks, some pass balls, and/or wild pitches, however you want to rule those. But some balls going to the backstop, whether it's the pitcher or catcher's fault, too many of those. Just a couple too many mistakes against a team that if you get guys on base and one shot from them can be 3 or 4 runs, So they played really well, and we didn't play real well. So that was pretty much the story of that game.
And you look at the offensive lines, Brittany Berry, J.D. Weed, both with a hit. J.D. had your only RBI. Tucker Jones, 2 for 3, led the way with those pair of hits. You look at the pitching lines, and a line from Connor Pittman in a start that probably, I think he'd even agree, probably his worst outing of his 2 years here. 3 innings pitched, 9 hits, 10 runs, 8 of those earned, 7 walks. I think that might be the highest walks he's ever had in an outing as well, too. 3 strikeouts. So you look at that, and then Lucas Harrington pitched an inning, 1 hit, 1 run. It was unearned, walk and a strikeout. So not a bad outing from Lucas. And you look at it and go, they had 9 hits, yes, but they also had 7, free passes from Connor. Just a little odd and not what you're used to seeing out of him, unfortunately.
Yeah, and some of those, you may could even say a couple of those walks, not that, some of them were just flat out walks. Some of those might have been more of like unintentional, intentional walk, kind of pitching around a guy because there's some dangerous guys in that lineup, so you're kind of like, man, we can't serve it up for them right here, which also some of that could have been like we're in a hitter's count, but we're also not trying to give them something too nice to hit. But, yeah, obviously I know Pittman would have liked to have had a better outing, but they swung the bat really good against him. And, and I'll speak on this for him and Galot. They pitched a ton all year for us, and we had to have them to get there, So were they both probably fatigued some and worn down? I'm sure their bodies were, which usually at this point everybody is. But they got us there, even though we would have liked to seen them do what they had done all year and get us into the regional. You still – we appreciate their effort and just getting us where they were able to help us get to. So, it is what it is, know.
You look at this team, and I think I've told a lot of people, especially after our last home game, people will look back at this group and look, and they'll be like, this group was the foundation layers. Yep. They were the ones who, everybody else that comes after them, they're the ones who laid the foundation. They're the ones who everybody else will be building upon. So, you look at it and go, like you said, yeah, they're fatigued at the end of the year, but without them, you certainly don't get there.
Absolutely not.
So then you look at game 2, and, I think as a head coach, you got to be wondering how the guy's going to respond. Yeah. We got one rule the day before. You get a whole day off. Maybe that's a good thing at that point because you really do get a chance to kind of flush it and forget it, and you don't have to bounce back and try to rebound 30 minutes later. You get a whole day off. This one, a little bit closer, even though 15-8 doesn't sound closer, it didn't really get 15, it didn't get that 7-run deficit till much later. Your thoughts overall on game 2 and how the guys were able to bounce back and really fight back and forth throughout the whole game?
Yeah, well, you said it there, fight. They did fight. Definitely bounced back after just not a great day, but like you said, too, being able to go to sleep, flush that one, get up the next day, and it's a new day. But, yeah, once again, we jump out on them, I think 2 runs in the first inning this time. So we kind of punch them in the mouth again early. And I was really happy to see that, how aggressive we were at the plate. And obviously we had a really good offensive day. We just couldn't quite hold their offense down. Ton of hits from both teams, a lot of runs from both teams, and they outpowered us.
Right. You look at the box scores, 35 combined hits. Unfortunately, the Eagles had 20 of them, and the Wolves only had 15. But still, a game where you had 15 hits. We say only 15, like that's not a big number. 15 is probably at least top 5 all year of hits for the team. You look at it, you mentioned it, scored 2 in the first. They responded with 2. You scored 2 in the second. Hagen-Combe had a 2 RBI single there that gave you a lead. The big inning for them was the 5-run third. That's where they jumped out to a 7-4 lead. 2-run home run, I believe, from J.D. Weed in the fourth made it 7-6. And unfortunately, they were able to score a run in the fourth and a run in the sixth, then 2 in the seventh. And the last 2 for the Wolves came in the 8th, and they scored 4 then, and that's where you get the 15-8. So it was kind of, you had a chance, and I think after J.D. had a chance, you had a chance to maybe even tie it or take the lead either right after him or the inning after. And you kind of think maybe if you get there, that's enough of a momentum gained, and maybe you force a game 3, but unfortunately they were able to respond. But you look at the offensive lines here, J.D. Weed led the way. He was 4 for 5. Hagen-Combe was 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs. You had Brentley Berry with a couple of hits, Tucker Jones with 2 hits, Jordan McKenzie with 2 hits, and Sawyer Dunn with a hit. I think told you we were talking about before we went on air. Everybody but like 3 guys who got a hit in this game had multi-hits. And Sawyer Dunn was the only one for us who didn't have multi-hits. So you look at it and you go, man, 15 hits, 8 runs, that's enough to win a ball game most of the time. Unfortunately, the other team was probably just as red hot in this game as your guys were.
Yeah, they were. And you look at, the Meridian lineup, I didn't notice this until a couple days later, but I think there's only one freshman in that lineup, so it's a bunch of sophomores that they got to play in a regional, or I say got to, I mean, earned the right to play in a regional last year and to have some experience. And so they're an older team, that's been there and kind of done it. And once again, that lineup, they did not swing the bat the way they did this week or last weekend when we played them the first time in the regular season. They did not swing it that way. So they're obviously playing right at the right time. So
you look at the pitching lines. Kobe Galat, again, I think he would also echo kind of the same sentiments that Connor had. Not his best day. 3 2/3 innings, 12 hits, 8 runs, all of those earned. 1 walk, 1 strikeout. D. Morgan, 2 2/3, 3 runs, 3 hits, all 3 of those earns, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. Judson Griffin, Lucas Harrington, Caleb Flynn, Jaden Duncan all pitched in relief as well too. And I think all of them did really well. Lucas probably would say he probably the worst outing he's had in a little while. 2/3, 2 hits, 3 runs, all of those earned and a walk. But overall, you've got to feel good about the fact that you had 3 relievers, 2 of those being freshmen, come out and only gave up 1 run between the 2 of them. So they've got something to build on going forward. But again, sometimes as a pitching staff, when you just run into a red hot buzzsaw, there's just not much you can do about it.
Yeah, it was tough, man. They were hitting everything and hitting a lot of things hard, but it also is, a chance for our pitchers too to realize that the guys coming back, hey, we've got some things to improve upon as well, and able to command more than one pitch and get ahead, and all the simple things of pitching that they just kind of we've got to get a little better at for next year. And if we do those, we'll be fine. So
you look at the end of the year. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. You finished the year 27-27, the most wins since 2008. 15-13 in conference. I think that's the most wins in conference since 21, the last time we made a postseason appearance. And you look at the splits. You were 16-11 at home, so you did the job at home. You finished above 500. 10-14 away. There's a couple of 2 or 3 one-run games in there that if those go your way, you got a little bit better record there, and 1 and 2 in neutral site games. So again, you look across the board, you're pretty much right where you want to be in those splits. Not one is not heavily favored over the other. And I text you over the weekend. You and I have talked privately. The big difference last year, if you looked at 1 and 2 run ball games, I text you, I said I think we were combined 4-19 in those this year or last year. This year you were 15-9. So there's the big secret to the success. I told a lot of people 1 and 2 run ball games last year really did us in. So anytime you can finish well above 500 in that category, you got to like what you see going forward.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think pitching would probably be the difference. Pitching and defense. I felt like, and this year. Really, I mean, obviously we were a better team. We pitched it better all year. We played better defense, and we swung it better. I mean, so we played better in every aspect. But I think a huge part of that would be just the way we played defense and pitched all year long. There were a lot of games that we didn't we didn't beat ourselves, which gave us a chance. Right. We may not have scored 8 runs a game, but we didn't hurt ourselves, and we scored 2 to 4 runs, and we were able to win a game. Right. So I think that's what that boils down to. So right.
You mentioned pitching, and we put a couple of graphics out yesterday. We've got some more coming, but we want to give these 3 guys a shout out: Connor Pittman, Kobe Galat, and in Bolin. They're going to go down as probably one of the best trios in Co-Lin program history. Connor Pittman and Kobe Galat. Connor finishes with 98 strikeouts, Kobe 91. They're the first 2 guys since Christian Day to have 90 plus. They'll go down in the history books as some of the best single seasons as far as strikeouts. I think Connor actually will be second, tied for second behind Ryan Ballinger, who had 135 back in 2005. And I think actually he ties his brother Brandon Ballinger, who had 98 and 98. And Kobe's up there in the top 5 as well. Then you look at their career numbers, Kobe and Connor. Connor finishes with 153. That is the 3rd most in a career behind Ballinger and Christian Day. Kobe is 133, 4th most behind the 3 we just mentioned. And Andon Bolin finishes 1 shy of 100. He had 99. I told you, I said, I would just wish you to force that game 3 so Bolin could have pitched 1 time and gotten 1 more strikeout. But 99 career strikeouts is nothing to shake your head at, especially for a lefty. He's going to finish top 10 all time. I think, possibly even top 5. So still looking through some numbers. Those are all based on available records. But again, just a prolific trio there. I think I told you and Coach Stewart, Connor and Kobe are again, based on available records, the first duo who's ever gone over 100 plus career strikeouts in the same 2 years together. You add Andy to that, they're the first trio ever to go 90 plus together during those same 2 years. So people will look back at it and go, those three guys were really special for you.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, special guys that they gave it all they could for us on the mound for 2 years, and obviously we owe a ton of our success, is credited to them for sure. So I appreciate their effort and their competitiveness for 2 years, no doubt.
And we know the 4-year institutions that they're going to are getting three special guys. Connor going to Memphis, Kobe going to MC, and then going to the University of Mobile. So those are the kind of guys, and then all the other sophomores that are leaving, and you really. You thank them for their 2 years. You're grateful that they took a chance on you because they were all freshmen, didn't know you. They came in and they had to make adjustments to you just like you had to adjust to them as well too. But you look forward. We've got the summer coming up. I know we'll have some camps coming on, those kind of things. And I think we're still trying to iron out all those details, get everything specific. We'll get all that information out to you to social media. But you look forward to next year, and you bring in, I think, another special group. I know y'all are really excited about that group.
We are, yeah. I mean, it was, I guess, the first real recruiting class that we've been able to have. That I guess you can say every single guy that's coming in are guys that we got to see, evaluate, and try to go after. So, not that some of the guys on this year's team were guys that we got as well. But yeah, no, we're super excited about the future, but not to overlook, what, like you mentioned, the sophomores, putting their stamp on this thing and getting it started. And I'll forever be grateful to them for buying in, to our coaching staff and what we've tried to do because, like you mentioned, I mean, they didn't necessarily pick me. I didn't pick them. It was like, hey man, we're all in this thing together, and they bought in, and they've brought it to where it is for sure. So, and I'm just hoping that we can continue what we're doing and make a playoff appearance every single year from here on out. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but that's the plan. So yeah, we're excited about the future for sure.
A group of sophomores minus J.D. Weed and Spencer Wilson, who transferred in this year, who will finish with, I believe, 42 wins to their credit. That's got to be some of the most, in a 2-year span. That's probably the most that a sophomore class has left here in a while. So things are looking very bright for Co-Lin baseball. Coach, thanks for joining me all season. It's been a pleasure. We look forward to next year. We look forward to the future for the Wolves. It's very exciting, and I think anybody who's come out and watched and seen the progress from your first year to this year, they've got to be excited with what they're seeing. So we are looking forward to it. That will wrap up our coaches show this week. Again, a reminder, the Lady Wolves are going to be in action this Saturday at 3 p.m. hosting the Bobcats of Jones for the Region 23 Championship. If you can make it, come on out, support the Lady Wolves as they look to get back-to-back Region 23 championships, and they've already secured their spot to Spartanburg, South Carolina, so we know they're going to Nationals. We'll have Coach Howard on that next week when we find out who they're playing and what the bracket's going to look like. Until then, I'm Kevin Kyzar, Sports Information Coordinator here at Co-Lin. We'll talk to you next week.